Francis Ngannou is back in an MMA cage. And it's going to be the smart cage, to be exact. Ngannou is finally debuting for the PFL. These guys threw, I don't know how much money at him, but I remember when the contract came out, it was absolutely nuts. He's a part owner of the company. They've really put a lot of trust, money, energy, and effort into Ngannou, and he's just boxed twice since then. I wonder if they got a cut of that promotion or pay-per-view from the boxing matches, because you'd want to hope they're getting something out of it. Yes, Ngannou is a massive star. The fights against Tyson Fury and AJ, did nothing but help build his star power. But yet to have a fight in the PFL, and for the longest time, especially when he signed, no one knew who he was going to fight. There was absolutely no one for him to fight in the PFL. People were talking about bringing in other names from other organizations. Now they have found him an opponent, Renan Ferreira. This guy is an absolute specimen. He's about 6'8", 6'9", and as athletic as you can get. Go and have a look at some of that guy's highlights. The way he's able to move his body for how big he is absolutely nuts. And he can crack. Anyone that big and that athletic knows how to connect the power to where it needs to go is going to have a lot of success. Francis Ngannou in that Anthony Joshua fight took more damage than he has over his whole career. And to get concussed multiple times as he did, who knows the sort of impact that that's going to have moving forward. It hasn't been that long since that fight, He's never been knocked out like that ever in his life before. Who knows what sort of effects that's going to have coming into this matchup. We saw Ngannou coming off his first loss in the UFC to Stipe Miocic. Do you guys remember his next fight after that? Derek Lewis. Everyone went into that fight going, oh my God, this is going to be nuts. This is going to be crazy. This one isn't getting out of the first round. And they just stared at each other for 15 minutes. He looked so tentative and hesitant in that fight. And he talked about it after the fact, the fear he was carrying around, feeling so scared to get to that place that Stipe brought him to again. This time, there's a new unknown, him being completely knocked out. You heard him on Rogan talking about the sort of mystery regarding that feeling and how all of a sudden you just wake back up. That combined with everything else that's, happened in the guy's personal life. What sort of headspace is he in to come back against an absolute killer who is huge, very athletic, like we've talked about, and can absolutely crack? Let's not negate Ngannou's power. If he touches Ferreira, he's going to put him to sleep, 100%. Ngannou, what made him so special back in the day was the chin. He took massive shots off not only Stipe, but other guys in the UFC as well. Tyson Fury. Has that chin been cracked now? It's one of those things that just goes overnight. All of a sudden, guys can't take damage anymore. And I feel like this is the fight we're going to find that out for sure. Unless he gets Ferreira out of there super quick, he's going to have to feel the power, 100%. So yes, Ngannou is back this weekend. It goes down in Dubai. The production is probably going to be an absolute joke. But regardless, the card is actually quite loaded with talent. For a PFL event, this is about as good as they can do. In the co-main event, Chris Cyborg taking on Larissa Pacheco. Two of the, I'd say, best women fighters in the world right now. At a higher division. These girls have never fought each other as well. So it'll be a really, really interesting fight because Pacheco's right at the top of her game. And Cyborg, is a little bit older into her career now. So we'll see how that fight plays out. I think there's going to be some really fun striking exchanges. And I think they're pretty evenly matched in terms of skill and power. A rematch for the middleweight strap, Johnny Eblen taking on Fabian Edwards. And he's Leon Edwards' older brother. The guy was finished in their first meeting. He was doing quite well, on the back foot. He has really nice Muay Thai, that sort of Dutch kickboxing style even. And he was landing against Eblen, cut him up in the first fight, was doing well, but was caught against the cage and got smacked with a counter right. And Johnny Eblen, he's really, really game. Not only is he so skilled, all aspects of the game. Very good wrestler. His striking's coming along, but you can just tell it's that guy's will what carries him over the finish line. He would be such a handful. You can tell, you see it when he spars Strickland, how competitive those guys are getting in there. That's what carries him. And that's what makes him so unique in a division like this. This is the fight I would say I'm almost most interested in on the whole card. Paul Hughes and AJ McKee are two guys I've been following outside the UFC for a long time now, and I think they are about as good as talent gets outside the UFC. Paul Hughes spent a lot of his career in Cage Warriors, and that's where I became quite accustomed to him. Had great fights with Jordan Vucenic, then moved up. Now is the lightweight champion, so he was the double champ, featherweight and lightweight in Cage Warriors. Found himself in Bellator PFL. Absolute shame. The kid should have gone to the UFC. Another one that just sort of fell through the UFC's fingers. But he's in a really, really exciting matchup here. Is this too much too soon? AJ McKee is about as experienced, skilled, talented, tenacious as it gets outside the UFC. Only really losing to Patricio Pitbull, who he has beaten in the past, you know. The guy is super electric. Finishing instincts are off the charts, and I think this stylistic match is going to be super, super exciting. Two young guys who don't want to give an inch, fighting for their place. So tune into this fight. Whoever wins, whoever loses, they are both going to give a great, great account of themselves. And guys, the rest of the card is going to be PFL fighters taking on Bellator fighters in a weird little mix of a promotion that they have going on. So that's there if anyone's interested as well. I know I'll be keeping my eye on a few of these fights on the main card. Super excited to see Ngannou back. The girls in the co-main event is going to be a great fight. Two top-level female fighters outside of the UFC. And like I said, Paul Hughes, AJ McKee Jr., that could be one of the better fights that you could make outside of the UFC in the lightweight division. So I rate these two guys' skills very highly, and I'm super interested to see how they clash. Check it out, guys. There could be some good fights. Ngannou's back. Ngannou brings power and an aura that is very, very tough to deal with. I would really, really appreciate it if you could like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and we'll chat soon.